You have been met with a little resistance from time to time, right?
Oh, absolutely. Not only from Christian circles, but academia. The academics don't like the result, let's say, on number 6 in the series, DNA, the final result. Let me just, we were castigated by the archaeologists in Peru, basically threw us under the bus. They didn't like what we had discovered there. And what we discovered was that these elongated skulls that are found pretty much everywhere on the planet, but specifically the ones we tested were in Peru, the DNA came back and showed the haplogroup, which comes from the maternal side of the family, the mother's side of the family, that they came from the Middle East and Europe. Oh, it's got to be contamination. Not so fast, citizen. No, it doesn't. And we had 58 samples. Mondo Gonzalez was down there with us. He was our lead archaeologist. Mondo and I took the samples with the strictest protocols, lab suits. We changed the lab suits after every specimen. And out of the 58 samples, about 28 of them sequenced. It's not contamination, because if it was contamination, then my DNA would show up as nuclear DNA. We never got nuclear DNA. We say that in the film. So, it's so easy to go, oh, it's contamination, but it's not. And so you say, well, who cares about this? My gosh, they were here in the Americas. We believe that they fled when Joshua and Caleb pushed the conquest of the Promised Land. They fled and came over here. And now we've got scientific proof, DNA, that shows a Middle Eastern haplogroup or Eastern European haplogroup, which rewrites history, and people don't like to hear that either, but it does rewrite history.
Well, do you remember when there were ghettos and you had something called a Judenrat that were the ones that would draw up the lists of the Jews that were going to get exported the next day? Do you remember how that system worked?
Well, it was a little before my time, but history would dictate what happened in those ghettos. So elaborate.
These were traitors to their people, who were helping because they thought they were going to save themselves. That's maybe why they did that, but it doesn't matter what their motives were. They were doing the work against their people. Now, think of this as an elaboration on a larger scale, and what we're dealing with actually is humanity and the elite, the secret societies, the Vatican. They're traitors to humanity, because the one at the very core that's pulling the strings is a different species. They're not the human race. They're called Homo capensis. They have been on Earth together with humanity for before this ice age. And the reason I know about this is because I was trying to help out a movie producer who couldn't get his movie. It was called The Banksters Made Off with America, Edmund Drille. And he introduced me to his network of whistleblowers. One of the people in that network is a neurologist who went to Yale Medical School and was retired, and he was trying to find out what was at the very core of all of this corruption. And
so you mentioned this species, an additional species of humans, or
no, they're not humans. They are so distinct from humans that if they were to mate with humans, their offspring would not be fertile.
Now, are you speaking of the biblical Nephilim is an entity that people have discussed and tried to understand for millennia, and that is the race of offspring of humans and the fallen angels from.
No, these are not angels. These are not spiritual.
Well, the Nephilim themselves were the offspring of the fallen angels and humanity. Is this the same species?
They are not fallen angels. Mm-hmm. They are critters. People who I am getting emails from saw them the day before. They look just like human beings, except they have these big skulls. And that is why in the Vatican you see these crazy meters, is what they're called.